Hello, this is Mike, K0NGA, back with another video about DMR programming for amateur radio. I got some requests to do a video for the CS750, and I thought I'd also go ahead, since they are very similar, to include the CS800. And so today we're going to start with that. I've decided to split these videos into several parts. Don't know how many parts yet, but a 35-minute video is kind of long to sit through. So today I want to go through, getting the software for the CS750 and the CS800. And the reason why I want to do this is because it's gotten a little more confusing now that the firmware updates are coming fast and furious. They seem to have tapered off now, so that's a good thing. So I thought I'd go over that with you in this video. So going to the Connect Systems website, if you watched my first video, the first thing you notice is that the website looks very different. You've now got this for amateurs and for professionals selection. And of course, for us, we want to go into the amateur section. When you go there, you get this screen, which shows you the currently available radios. And a quick note on this, we've got a lot of interest and a lot of people buying the MD380 digital radio because it's $165. It's very affordable, and that's great. The one thing you want to be careful of, though, is to look at your contact lists for your area. In Colorado, we like to include all the Colorado, Wyoming, and New Mexico contacts from the DMR Mark list. And that list is rapidly approaching 800 entries with all the talk groups. So, all the radios currently on the market, Motorola, Hytera, the MD380, are limited to 1,000 contacts. So once you get to 1,000 contacts, and if you have more contacts than that in the list that you normally put in there, you're going to have to start doing contact list management. And we will be facing that here in the Colorado area in the next 2 or 3 years. The only radios that I know of on the market in DMR that can go above 1,000 contacts are the CS750 and the CS800. So just something to bear in mind. Also on this page, down at the bottom, you've got a comparative list, and you've got some blog post type entries down here that Connect Systems will put up from time to time. Now, to get to the software, you want to go up to software, up in the upper right hand corner here, and come down to the radio that you want. Now, we're going to start with the CS750 because it's the simpler of the two. Now, don't let all the red text scare you. It's just there to kind of pop out and make sure that you read it. The latest firmware will always be at the top. So here's your firmware and the CPS version that goes along with it. So you want to make sure that if you're running the latest firmware, you want to be running the latest CPS. Then of course the instructions are here. It's a little PDF, as you can see down at the bottom, on instructions on how to update it. The firmware update software actually isn't up here. You have to kind of scroll down for it. Here we go, Flashburn 2.0 down here. So this is where you get Flashburn 2.0. Depending on how old your 750 is, you may also need to update the bootloader to version 2.01. And you can go into your settings to check on your radio, go into your radio settings to check what your bootloader version is. If your bootloader version is not 2.01, update that first. And all the instructions are here. That's pretty straightforward. Again, if you have any questions, send an email off to Connect Systems. They should be able to help you out. But it's very straightforward. You just get the latest, get the bootloader loaded with the firmware updater, update the firmware to 1.1.07, update the CPS, and you're good to go. The CS800 can be a little more confusing, and that is because the CS800 has a removable front panel, and the front panel, because it's removable and remote, has its own firmware. So in order to update the front panel, you have to come down here to the front panel software. Now the front panel only has to be updated if you received your radio in September of this year or before. Again, if you have any questions about it, email the Connect Systems. They should be able to tell you really quick, how to check. You can go into your menus and check what versions you have, so you need to know whether or not you need to update it. The latest front panel firmware is 1.00.02. And you use the same Flashburn to do that. If you wondered why you got that other weird cable that looked like a programming cable but had a telephone in on it, That's what that cable is for. So hope you didn't throw that away. Then you have to update the main radio itself. That's what these firmwares are here. And of course the CPS version. Now if you were paying attention, you'll notice that the CPS for the CS750 and the 800 are both version 4.0.13. You use the same CPS for both radios, and you can use the CPS to convert between the 750 and the 800. So if you've got both, it's going to make your life a lot easier. There's some other features in the software that's going to make your life easier as well. We'll go through that in the video once we get there. Now the other thing that I found that's kind of odd is that all the way up here, if you look at that here, important instructions for updating firmware or code plug, that's kind of misleading. In the 750, it gave you the PDF about how to update. On the 800 page, this gives you a Word doc that warns you, how to update things in what order and whatnot, and whether or not you need to update it. Where you find the document on actually how to update the firmware, including the firmware for the front panel, is down here on the right. And why Connect Systems did that, I don't know. It's probably just an oversight. It's not a huge deal, but just be aware that that's where the actual instructions are. So you download the firmware, download the CPS, download the FlashBurn, update your firmwares, install the CPS. That's pretty straightforward. If you need the driver for the USB driver, if you're not running 64-bit or if it's just not showing up, there is drivers down here and drivers here. This driver is version 1.11. I think this driver is a little older. It's 1.8. So I would grab this one first. It's a zip file. It has all sorts of checkers in the PDF document, all the stuff built into it. So that's where you can get the drivers. So that's pretty much it for the software. Again, if you have any questions or get confused with this, I strongly recommend emailing Connect Systems. I'm not an expert on this through and through by any stretch, but I do use it a lot. So thanks for watching this. I'll be back next time to go into the changes in the software. I'm probably not going to go through a full programming just because the program is exactly the same as the CS700. The windows just look a little different. But we'll go through the changes of the software and what's new and some gotchas there. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you again later.